This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what's going on? What do you have for us today?
Well, it's like I got something we don't necessarily talk about a whole lot on this podcast, and that is a DC event series. Yeah, man.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah, because like DC, it's like doesn't necessarily have the same hey, we're gonna like drive this from the series we're doing into a big event like event series business that Marvel does. But it's like this is one that I think that they've actually done a good job of building up like over the course of several different ongoing series. And this is Absolute Power, and it's one that has actually had they've been building up for like a good long while now. One that has roots in hey, turning one of its more ruthless characters, Amanda Waller, into an outright villain in terms of hey, it's like 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 the like basically like you're showing like hey, she has had a mad on for curbing the excesses of superhero action like in her own perspective. It's like
So, so I lied. I'm not. I'm gonna say no. I'm
yes,
gonna
fair.
talk to you about this. Why? Because, um, so, like my understanding of Amanda Waller is that she never really wanted to cross the line. That she actually believes in like that. You might question the methods, right? Or the
Hmm.
but and like but I think at the bottom of the end of the day her motivations were of a self-preservation nature, but it almost, just my understanding of it is that it's almost like um it's almost like, well, this evil is for your good. um and so it's for our good, and I think it's the best decision for it. So I don't know, prove me wrong on that, or at least tell me something different, but I think that that's basically her motivation. It's like, hey, you know what, the ends do justify the means, and this is how we're going to get there, but not through, yeah, it might be questionable practices, but then making her evil would be kind of like making, I don't know, Nick Fury evil. I mean, but that's a really bad comparison, by the way. But anyway, I digress. I'll let you go back to it.
No, actually, John, it's like this. You brought this up. I want to know. I actually want to know. So, when you talk about your conception of Amanda Waller, what where is this coming from? I mean, is this from the comics, or is this from say it's like other media, like say Justice League Unlimited?
So, kind of both, but more like the animated series. This is kind of where we saw that, and mind you, there's more media to hit on as well. I believe we've seen her in things like Black Adam.
Yeah,
Whoops, spoiler. Anyway, so yeah, but not that it mattered because a lot of people didn't. Maybe a lot of people didn't see that movie. I did, and the end credits kind of. I think it was end credits, maybe. That's just my memory. It was near the end when we did get that, we saw that understanding, so that she was there.
you say
But
Black Adam. I was like, I think
and
the Suicide Squad.
yes, yeah, okay, then there's Suicide Squad, correct.
Yeah, because I think that like one of the things that I mean, like like I said, I've read her like her her adventures in comics for a good long while, specifically like from her for, like her origins in Suicide Squad, specifically the original like Suicide Squad run like by John Ostrander in the 80s, and she has all generally been presented as kind of like someone who's more ruthless in terms of presenting the ends justifies the means. And yeah, I think you're right there, John. Like she is a character who like who is just trying to be more ruthless in terms of making a better world and all. But at the same time though, it's like she is just trying to not adhere to conventional morality here. And when it comes to the this particular storyline, like, well, DC, it's like, has basically, basically, like, given, like, the creators, like, like Carte Blanche, to, like, trying to make her like an actual villain here, because like this is like, not something that has, because in terms of, like, like event storylines, this is one that's actually been, like, pretty well set up, like, over the course of, like, different storylines. And that's both to its that's both
Hey,
to yes.
I'm sorry, I just got this thought and I had to say it. But like, what happens when you take a character like that and you throw them into the mirror universe? Do they actually become more evil or do they become good? Anyway, just saying. And the reason why I'm
Oh,
even
I think that, I would actually look to see, like, what is, like, the mirror universe version of Amanda Waller, like,
right.
one who, because, like, I think, like, like, that would be like someone who's, like, more like a lawful good, version of her, like, basically like the kind of, like, like, the paladin type version of the character, like, who just says, like, I'm going to, be like, like, be like, it's like, try to make a better world regardless of what, of what happens. But,
Yep.
that's, I think that's also, like, it's just like, a lawful good character who's also a villain. That's it's more the realm of, like, another, like, completely different series, like the Order of the Stick, than than what we got here, because, DC is basically, like, determined to, like, hey, like, if Amanda Waller is given, like, all the power she wants, all the carte blanche she wants, in order to, like, make a better world, then it's going to be bad news for, like, likes of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, which, hey, that's the conflict that makes a it's like an event series, such as what we're talking about right here. So, because, hey, it's like what we got here with Absolute Power is like the culmination of Amanda Waller's, like, drive to make a like a it's like a world that is, like, like beholden to her will, and that, is like, that doesn't, like, allow for, like, all the, like, the heroes to, like, do all the heroing that they do. Now it's like you hear, I know you hear this and you think, like, wait a second, hey, Amanda Waller's always been, like, like the more ruthless, version of, like, heroism. So, like, why is she just, suddenly being an outright villain, like, in this story as well? Well, that's when you get to, like the supplemental material, which is like stuff like John Ridley's, like Absolute Power Origins, which is basically like Amanda Waller's, like, year one story. Because originally it's like, she was, like, like told as being like a wife, like, from the, like, who was living with her family in the, like, Chicago's Cabrini Green projects in the 80s, which is like, like establishes like a hotbed of, like, gang violence and activity, like, in that era, and allowed a like, a believable, like, like, setup, in the sense that, like, one of her sons was, murdered, like, in gang violence. One of her daughters was, like, raped and killed by, like, a bad guy known as the Candyman. And when this happened, her husband, like, went out and tried to murder this guy, and like, he wound up dying, killing him, but also dying in the process. And Amanda just, like, saw this and just like, hey, I've got to take matters into my own hands. And that's the story that was established in John Ostrander's origin story, like, for Amanda, and also observed by John Ridley in his story for in his, like, Amanda Waller year one story, like, for this event. Because, it's like, Ridley is a writer who, he's wanted to, like, write comics for a good long while, but he's the guy who just, had to wait until he won his Academy Award for 12 Years a Slave before he actually, like, gave him, like, like the time of the day and all. But, he's been writing, like, good comics, like, for DC for a while after this. And he also, like did this, Amanda Waller year one story that was tied into absolute power, one that not only observed John Ostrander's like origin, for Amanda Waller, but also just slightly like reflected it to reflect a distaste for like superhero vigilante action as well. Um, um, I guess my one real issue with absolute power is that it positions like a Waller as like a actual like villain in this thing. So she's trying to stop Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman from doing their heroine business. But it's like I've always like as someone who's like who read all of the like Suicide Squad stories that she was that Ostrander wrote, that were collected before this. So I kind of like like pictured like Waller as being like more of like a and justify the means type of character, one who just said hey, she is going to like, like deploy like like as many like villainous characters as she can in order to like ascertain like a heroic outcome in the end. It's like yeah, she's gonna she's gonna like use like the likes of like Captain Boomerang, Count Vertigo, it's like and whatnot in order to even if like they're bad unscrupulous people, but she's gonna use this in order to like achieve like a moral end at the end of the day. Ridley basically like, like tries to like shift that perception like in the sense that hey she acknowledges that hey like the vigilantes are just using like doing their own like means to an end and like she is just going to like just trying to use that in order to like 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 try and pretend that like that they're the bad guys and that she is acting for the greater good and all. It's like I I get what he's trying to do here, but I've always appreciated Waller as just like a means justifying the ends character is that she's trying to do for the work like towards the greater good, even if like her means are just kind of unscrupulous and all. It's like I did enjoy the story that like that really told with artist Alicia Martinez, and it's but even then it's like it's like it also kind of like and it also appreciated the fact that he observed like that like Ostrander's like story like storytelling from back in the day. In fact, he even like acknowledges, like the time that Batman broke into Belle Reve and was trying to expose the Suicide Squad, but then like Waller just like found a way to like turn that back on him, and it's also like telling that in the collected edition for like Absolute Power Origins that this like that story about how Waller like stood up to Batman is observed here. So yeah, that's kind of that's good here. It's like I'd recommend that, even if it's like I think that the storyline that being collected doesn't do any favors by including the like original like Ostrander written story there because it's a classic story that basically shows um Batman being cowed by Waller's like, strategic thinking, if it doesn't quite line up with what's going on here. So, but that being said, the it's like the actual it's like absolute power story basically is all hinged upon Amanda Waller, like finding a way to just like stop like strip all the superheroes like of their power to like and use her like elite like Amazo squad, like Amazo being like like the like the villainous robot who can steal superhero powers because that's what he does. But you've got like 7 different versions of him that can steal the seven powers of the it's like of the Justice League here, like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, like Flash, like Flash, like Martian Manhunter. It's like it's like and Cyborg. It's like it's like I think I
But
got
not Batman.
Oh, oh. No,
But not
it's like
Batman.
oh no. It's like actually like Batman, because like that's the thing, because like Failsafe is one of like the Amazos here, and like he is one of the like the key like parts of like a Mauler schemer, basically the Trinity of Evil. Because like, here's the thing, like like prior to the storyline, there were also like there were like set up there was set up in the DC universe, which I did like. Basically, Amanda Waller got her big setup like in in the Titan storyline, like on Beast World, where it's like where like, where she set things up to like to have like like Beast Boy. It's like be like the like it's like the big thing that was going to like like steal all the powers from this like evil Starro version, but then also just turn everything like into beast versions of themselves. And that basically like, gave her like the leniency from like the from the American government and other governments in order to like like establish her rule. But also in other storylines in the DC universe, there was also like the story of Failsafe, which is basically evil fascist Batman. Because it turns out that when Batman wasn't himself, when he was like being the like the Batman of Zur and R, like from Grant Morrison's like storyline, he basically decided that, hey, it's like I need to like come up with a Batman that is going to like stop me if I ever go bad. And that's what Failsafe is. So basically, you've got Failsafe, the evil fascist Batman that is just going to like like take care of things if Batman ever like crosses the line and kills one of his like evil rogues, like one of his evil rogues, which is what Penguin managed to like pull off. And then that's what set off the whole like Failsafe storyline in Chip Zdarsky's run. And then you've also in Superman, you've got the Brainiac Queen, which is like hey, Brainiac said hey, he wanted like someone who's like who he could like share his life with. And that went bad as well. So, but I have not read the Failsafe storyline, because it's like, hey, Batman, in Batman storyline in hardcover first format by a writer that I don't quite agree with, but there you go. But also with like the like with Brainiac Queen storyline in like House of Brainiac, that is actually on my to order list. That hey, maybe you'll read it before you like hear this podcast, but the way things are going right now, maybe you probably won't. So, but I'm invested in this storyline. But basically, what I'm saying is, prior to this storyline, like you've got like two like villains like Failsafe and the Brainiac Queen, who've basically been defeated by their respective like characters, Batman and Superman. And that's kind of like a okay, I can see how you want to like tie your storyline to like a hot villain right here. But you're also talking to like a villain that has actually been defeated and has been replayed for the storyline. Now, the Failsafe stuff is just kind of like, okay, fine. It's like Amanda Waller just got Failsafe back online again, and okay, now he's going to be fascist Batman for this arc. But the but the bit about Brainiac Queen is actually more interesting in the sense that like Amanda Waller now has to reboot like the Brainiac Queen's like status as a like as someone who's like subservient to her. So basically, what we get in the like setup to the storyline is it's Amanda Waller like living with the Brainiac Queen like for 20 years in a virtual reality. He's just trying to like tell her that hey, superheroes are bad and I am your mother and so this is good. So I need you to like take like understand like the like the superheroes that that we're fighting against. It's like hey, they need to be taken down. It's like and this is good because I am your mother. Understand? Yeah. So this is basically this is basically where we are for the like for the setup for the main absolute power storyline. And here and if you're only reading like the hardcover, which is what I got, I have to admit that it's being done by two of the best creators currently in the business, writer Mark Waid and artist um like Dan Mora. But also Waid is also contributing to the like setup to these storylines because he's also having to set up like Waller, Failsafe, and it's like and the Brainiac Queen and other like guys like as the like some of the main villains of this for the storyline. I think that, but here's the thing: there's like a couple prologues here, and then 4 core issues of the main miniseries, Absolute Power. I think that Wade, the artists, and especially with Mora, like they do a good job of like giving you the bare minimum of setup in order to like enjoy this miniseries, and then like engage with like the main miniseries as well because basically it's all about hey, Amanda Waller like like heroes like their powers are stolen by Amanda Waller, and they're also like these evil Amazos that she's set up as well to steal these powers, and now the heroes have got to like find a way to fight back against her and secure like the victory against this evil like fascist villain. I think that absolute power does the bare minimum like to make this kind of storyline work. Wade is a great writer who does like who knows how to make like you care about like superhero superhero like setups and like and their passions and their motivations. And Mora is like easily like one of the best artists to come into superhero comics in recent memory. And I think that they do a good job of just like selling you on this stuff, even if like they really needed at least another 2 issues or maybe even like another 4 issues to make the series twice as long to just like sell you on like some of the core concepts like of the series like from from the heroes losing their powers, from like John Kent being assimilated by the Brainiac Queen and forced to fight against his superhero friends. It's like or for like like from like stuff like Batman going out to get the mother box that was going to like they're going to need to fight against like it's like Waller or the like or Nightwing like being a like a big damn hero and just demanding like hey, this is what everyone has to do in order to like in order to fight against like like Waller's reign. I think that what we get here is good enough, but in order to make it a really great like superhero like event, say on the lines of like say Jonathan Hickman's like an Infinity storyline where he got like like not just like 6 issues of an event series, but also 6 issues from Avengers and 6 issues from 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 Avengers, uh, from New Avengers, in order to make it work. It's like I think that's kind of what this series really needed. Just more space in order to make all the like the human stuff work like in the course of its storyline. I think it's enjoyable as it is, but you'll know that there's a lot of stuff that is like that is like being shut off in order to the other tie-in stuff. I mean, not just like Absolute Power Origins, like the origin of Amanda Waller, but also like Task Force 7, which basically talks about all the different Amazo units that are basically tasked with like absorbing the powers of the like of like the specific superheroes, for like for their storyline. Which I think that the best one is the one that had Alex Packnadel and Pete Woods like illustrating the what happened when like the Flash's powers were absorbed, and that was the best one like of that collection, because hey, it's like it actually made like the Flash unit that was absorbing all the powers there like a proper character with his own unique motivations, and I like that. But even then, like like this storyline is basically this collection is basically worth getting, also for the insight it gives into like like John Kent's struggles after being assimilated like by the Brainiac Queen. And also it was kind of surprising to realize like how many like sort of these issues reference the it's like the storyline from like Tom King's Wonder Woman like tie-in, where she and Damian Wayne to not only find out um where all these heroes are being captured, but also just how they're going to be broken out as well. So yeah, it's like I think that Tom King's Run on Wonder Woman is fantastic, but hey, like it's also worth reading for this tie into this storyline as well. So, but in terms of just an actual event storyline, it's like Wade and Mora's work on the core miniseries is really, it's like great, and I think that if you just read that, it's like you'll have like the bare minimum needed in order to to enjoy this. I mean, maybe you don't need to buy it like I did in hardcover, because like I wanted to talk about it. But hey, like go ahead and read it because I liked it. But also one thing I think that would have helped the storyline, to give it like a big inclusion to like what's coming next, because like I think that DC did a good job in terms of like setting up the storyline in terms of like multiple like titles, but yeah, you had to kind of read those titles in order to get the most benefit out of them. But in terms of what's coming next, well, you gotta read the DC All In special, which I really think should have been included here, because the short version is that it basically establishes like it establishes the reestablishment of the Justice League. After like Justice League has been just disbanded for like a good long while in the DC universe prior to Absolute Power, and now DC, now the league, like the core members of the league, have realized that hey, we're going to reestablish the league, or just tie in everyone who has a good log good reason to like to be here, including like weirdos like Booster Gold, who just tried to be like like a hero for the league, even after they did travel back in time, like like for their own unscrupulous ends. But this DC All In special not just like sets up like like the next Justice incarnation of the Justice League, which is going to be by Mark Waid and Dan Mora because hey, I love these guys. I'm going to read this like as soon as it comes out, and I guess even if it comes in hardcover because they're that good. But also this all-in special establishes the absolute universe. Basically, it shows you just like how Darkseid gets involved in it, and just how this like absolute universe, like how this like for lack of a better term, ultimate version of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and also as we're as has been like also like established, um Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, and Flash later on like are basically being driven by a universe that has been established by Darkseid's like evil influence. I think that this like this one shot does a good job of setting that up, and I was already like on board for just hey, buying the like absolute versions of like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman because of the creative team that they've established. So yeah, it's like on one hand, it's like I think that absolute power is worth reading if you're deeply invested in the like ongoing story of the DC universe. And hey, maybe just check it out, once it's like in a softcover format because there you go. But also, I think that DC kind of like messed up a bit in not just like including just more setup for the storyline, and also more like forward setup for the storyline in terms of like including the all-in special, which hey if you're in terms of like what's going next, you all in following um like the absolute power is a good solid like lead in, but you're gonna have to like either buy that single issue for yourself like I did on like I bought it on Amazon for $5, so which is fine. But at the same time though, it's like I'm also gonna buy Absolute Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman because I love the idea of like Superman by Jason Aaron, more but Batman by Scott Snyder, and Wonder Woman is a Witch from Hell from Kelly Thompson. So there you go. That's what we've got coming next. And it's like, hey, I'm on board for it, but I think that DC maybe could set things up a bit better. But there you go. But I did, and hey, go read Absolute Power. If not now, then when it's in softcover. So there you go.
All right. Cool. Do you know what you're going to be talking about next week?
Oh man, it's like assuming that my order right from Chief Graphic Novels comes in like after like I've ordered it, then maybe I'll be talking about Den by Richard Corbin, or maybe I'll just have to like find something else to talk about in the meantime. There you go.
All right. Then we'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
All right, later, everyone.
Bye.